Here's Cam's right here, and he is ready to paper mache. Now see these gaps? The paper mache will cover these gaps, but those are kind of big. So in the future, a lot of you, if you do little covers on those, like little ladders, it'll make it more strong. The paper will cover it, but you got to put a lot of it on there, and I'll show you right now. So you're ready to go. Step one, get one of these big giant containers. They're flat bottom, and you're going to pour some paper mache liquid in there. Now what we're using is watered down wallpaper paste. Watered down wallpaper paste. It's perfect, super sticky, and it makes it super duper strong. All right. So you got your water, this stuff. If you want to spread out newspaper on your area, that's fine. If you work up here, you don't have to, which is why I'm doing it. And then you're going to do newspaper. Now you're going to get a whole, like a section of the newspaper. I got a little too much there. And then watch this. If you rip from the fold, it rips in perfectly straight lines. How wide do you cut them? Rip them.
2 inches. About an inch.
About an inch. All right. As you get more detail, rip thinner ones. Now, why do we rip them and not cut them? Does anybody know?
Nope.
Because when you cut them, you get a nice, clean, crisp edge. But when you rip them, you get these beautiful feathery edges, which lay flatter. They kind of stick better. All right. So they lay flatter. And when you're done making this, you don't want a bunch of wrinkles, even though you're making it out of paper. Now, I also like to rip this little fold off so I have lots of small pieces and not these gigantic long ones. They're just a little easier to work with. So I just rip those off and recycle them. Stand down, please.
I can't see.
She can't stand down.
Sit down.
All right. So you've got all your strips. Now, here's what you do. Take one at a time. Now, there's going to be somebody in here that tries to get creative and do like 7 at a time, and it doesn't work like that because it doesn't get wet in the middle. And you do 1 at a time, put it underwater, pull it through, and then a gentle squeegee into the bucket, and then lay it on. All right, don't worry about wrinkles. Your first layer is your hardest layer. And crisscross them. All right, once you've got a bunch on there, they just start flying. But the first layer is the hardest, so be patient, don't get upset, and just keep going. See, I'm doing them all away from each other. And just cover this thing to death. All right? Why am I crisscrossing them and not doing them all side by side?
So they stay?
So they stay. It's almost like you're weaving them. If I were to put them all side by side, they can literally fall off. And now, as you're putting it on, part of what's frustrating is if you're doing it somewhere weird, it may not stick that great. Like that right there, don't worry about it. It's your first layer. The next piece will get it. Watch this. I'm going to wrap it around and in. See that? So don't sit here and rub wrinkles all day. You're just wasting your time. Some of you OCD kids are going to do that. Try not to do that. And so I'm just covering this thing, not worried about wrinkles. How many layers do you do?
3.
5 to 7. Why 5 to 7?
So you can paint
Don't be strong, because what you don't want, and I'll show you, what you don't want is to poke your hole through it. Because when it's dry, if you poke your hole in the end of the paper towels at Food Line when you're walking down, you poke your finger in the hole. It's not supposed to do that. Well, that's what will happen on your project, and there'll be a big hole in your thing. So 5 to 7 makes it strong. Back when I used to teach middle school, we used to do a drop test. So when it was dry, we'd push it off the table, and if nothing was wiggly, you were ready to paint. All right? We're old enough to not need the drop test. You just understand that it needs more paper mache before you paint. Does that make sense? All right, are there any questions while I'm doing this? I'm not done yet. So cover this thing till you're sick of it, and then cover it some more. All right? You could probably work on paper mache probably 3 days. But now I know what you're thinking. How do you get the bottom? Right? You're totally thinking that, right? You ready? Everybody watching? Everybody watching? Did I lose anybody? Flip it over. This is messy as all get out. That's why we do it as one of our last projects. And watch this. Wrap and wrap in. Just to cover up that edge. It makes it, remember I said it's going to get a little bit smaller? That's why I do a little bit bigger. That's why. It cleans up your bottom edge. All right, see how that one's not even sticking? See how it's just flopping?
Yeah.
I'm not even worried about it. Watch how I fix it. Come across it that way. All right? Your first layer is hard and ugly. The second day, which will be tomorrow, when Cam does it tomorrow, it's going to be a lot cleaner and easier. So just know that your first layer is frustrating. All right? Everybody get the picture here. I'm going to do a couple more and I'll be done. I think you get it. You guys are smart. All right, last one. All right, now, end of the day, you're looking at the clock. It's like, oh, okay, it's getting close to lunchtime. What do? You're soaking wet. What do you do first? No, that's the last thing you do. Clean up. Thank you, T-Dog. You take care of the art first. So you take this thing and you bring it to me, and I'll carefully put it up there, do the ladder thing. All right, so you take care of the art first. Second thing, what do you do with this?
Give it to you.
Give it, tell you about it.
Pour it back in the thing. Wait, stop, come back. There's going to be a bucket. This bucket's always going to be in the left side of the sink. Dump it in here. Do not dump it down the sink because this is money. This is money right here. So dump it into this giant bucket, and then I will funnel it into the container that you get it out of every day. So you don't have to do that. All right, so dump it in there. See how fast that was? Then clean up your table. Then wash your hands. Okay? Any questions? Comments? Concerns? How do you know when you're ready to paper mache?
When you say so.
When I say so, or Miss Nava says so. Miss Nava, am I ready to paper mache? We'll say yes, no, maybe so. Tic-tac-toe, and then you can rock and roll. All right? All right. Fantastic? Let's ride.
Yeah, I can bend it.
Yeah.